Oh, I'll miss you too. Have fun in Australia. Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay, I'll see you there. We will. Bye.
To get ready, we had to get the inside of the van finished. We had to get the trailer, figure out how we were gonna hook it up, figure out what we were gonna take. Yeah, just it was insane.
Okay, we're leaving for Louisville. Talk to you later. Bye. We got all the flyers. Paper ones. No, I think the ones to hand out. We convinced Chuck to take his car against his will, like an hour before we left. It was sheer panic, and then a 6-hour drive with no CD player. You know, so it was like.
Louisville was our first stop. Yeah, it definitely was, because we drove like 10 hours to get there.
Yep.
And we played in front of absolutely nobody. Actually, no, we did play. No, we didn't play in front of a bartender because he was in the other room.
Thank you! Alright, ready? This is a Detroit rock anthem. Any Detroiters in the house? Get out of here from Detroit. Back up. Home of the automobile. That guy's from Detroit. Alright, ready? I say rock and roll. I say kick your ass. You say kick your ass, ready? Okay. Rock and roll is gonna kick your ass! Touring in a band is, you get no respect from bar owners, from people in the bar, unless there's like a couple drunk people that really like the music because it's the first time they've heard it on tour. It's a lot different than touring around like Michigan, where we would play venues over and over again and we'd have a buildup of a crowd and we'd gain the respect of the bar owner. But when we were on these cross-country tours, we were playing venues, all first-time venues, and you know, they couldn't give a rat's ass about us.
This was a whole new thing. This wasn't just like hitting a couple dates and coming home. This was real deal. You know, this makes or breaks most bands, and I've actually seen it happen. You know, band goes out for a real tour and they come back and they're not together and they're actually killing each other and they won't talk and all that. You know,
Yeah.
It's a test.
The first tour, we had a $5 a day per diem each, so we could only spend $5 a day on the first tour, which meant either A, we had to like save up some money before the tour, and then the $5 a day was like a little bonus, or B, living off of $5 a day.
That was my first official tour with any band.
Check.
The energy was awesome. That was definitely the craziest tour we did because of the double duty, because of having to tour. It was being the first time we did a national tour, and B, having to get all this garage footage.
So what were you expecting?
Pretty much what we got the first time around, like a whole lot of camping, sleeping on floors. Because we did get a lot more showers than we anticipated, I think. For Christ's sake.
When we decided to go on that first tour, I mean, it was a harebrained scheme. It was like, it was me and Josh trying to figure out an excuse to get out west.
We we had a bed in the back of the van so we could do shifts of someone sleeping and then taking over. We had no tape deck or CD player. It was just a radio, no air conditioning. If we had gotten in an accident with that car, we would have all been toast.
Fuck you.
To your favorite restaurant, I said to the German man, expose me to your culture and engulf me in this open land. Let my horizons grow. That's what I told him 48 minutes ago, and now he's looking for me as a should I tell you the truth, or will he believe my lies? He's asking good, blood sausage running down my face. If I don't swallow right now, then I'll barricade this grease. I'm holding it between my teeth so it doesn't touch my tongue. Why I put it into my mouth, I guess I'll never know. And I'm not worried what I said, yeah, 48 minutes ago. And I'm worried what I said, yeah, 48 minutes ago. 48 minutes ago. Maybe I will try to wash it down. It's gonna be all the same as on my place. What else do I have in front of me? Bacon is big stomach, or maybe pig brain. And the juices are spreading. They are exploring every avenue of my mouth. And even though I don't swallow, the flavor is the wallow. I'm being held hostage by a chunk of blood sausage. Me and my friend Peter Clark, we were backpacking around Europe, and we were in Germany, and we met this German guy, and we're like, take us. We want authentic German cuisine. We want the real deal. We don't want any of this tourist crap. And so he took us to this restaurant, and he ordered us blood sausage. And we were like, whatever it is, we will eat it, man. I don't care how gross it is, we're gonna eat it. And we got blood sausage, and I always like sausage, could be good, so I like sausage. And we cut it open, and blood poured out. It was the most disgusting thing. It smelled like blood. It tasted like blood, like heinous blood. It was just absolutely horrible. We had a bite, and then we completely offended the dude, and we're like, sorry, can't eat it.
Orleans was awesome. New Orleans was one of my favorite places to play every time we went there, for just a ton of different reasons. Mainly it was playing the place that we did, the Mermaid. The owners of that club were insane. They were all just real bad alcoholics, and I don't even know what you would call them. They were like these weird artist philosopher types. They had these crazy outlooks on life, and you could just sit with them and talk for hours and hours and hours about, like, you know, all the people that came to New Orleans to die.
We had a plan, like we would go to a gig and we'd each try and get to know someone in the audience to ultimately ask us where we were staying. And then we would have the token response of like, we don't know yet. We just rolled into town. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. We don't know where we're gonna stay. And then hopefully that leading to, well, hey, you guys can stay with me.
We had more gigs in this town than any other town. That's cool. Yeah, all right, what's happening?
Sometimes we'd stay with pretty scary people, like in New Orleans. We stayed with this group, this other band that we played with. A lot of times we stayed with the other band that we were playing with. And the band in New Orleans was the 40 Ounce Federation.
Not only did they sound like Quasar What What, the swamp version of Quasar What What, they had a Joe Lapham doppelganger whose name was Pierre Pressure. And this dude was totally nuts. He had like one of those crazy like hats that's been around the world and back. It's like got a bunch of holes in it and stuff. His shoes were like all duct taped together. And he used to sleep in a closet that was like as big as this table. It was like 3 by 5, little tiny thing. And he slept on a bed of porno magazines. There was no there wasn't a blanket in there. There was no pillow. There was nothing. It was just a bed of porn. That guy was great.
They were really good hosts. They were hardcore though. I mean, to get a taste of New Orleans like that, I mean, that was it. Just like, they were just these, I remember them being really kind of greasy, dirty folks, and they practiced what they preach on stage.
One of the women that lived there was had facial piercings, had like a nose ring and something going through her lip. And they had 2 pets. They had a dog and a pig, and it was unbelievable, but they had the picture of the pig actually raping the dog on the refrigerator. That was probably one of the oddest places that we ever stayed in.
$1 if you know the name of this song. It's not the name of this song.
What?
The name of the song is In Other Words.
Nothing in that town except military and NASA. Military and NASA. I mean, there's no other reason to live in Houston. And just horrible people. Like, I think we almost got the crap beat out of us one night.
Everywhere except for Texas went great. And I don't know what it is about that state. We just had to avoid it at all costs. I mean, we never actually made it down to Austin, and maybe that was the problem.
We stayed in a concrete bunker in that one city outside of Houston where all the hurricanes
Galveston?
come. I think it was maybe it was Galveston. It was brutally hot, humid.
I hated Texas. I hated Texas.
Actually, I had your number because you gave it to me a long time ago, and I just wanted to call and let you know that my band is coming to LA. It's kind of a crummy town, but it's cool. We had 4 gigs here, and then we go to Albuquerque after this, and then LA for 2 nights, and then we're up in Fresno, and then San Fran, and then Seattle. Yeah, we're on for about a month and a half. Some hauls. I think the longest one we ever did was from Houston to Los Angeles. I think we had to do it in 2 days, and it was 25 hours of driving. That was insane.
Basically, from LA all the way up to Seattle, I had a wonderful time because we had people at our shows.
Oh, I loved San Francisco, and I loved Seattle.
A lot of the stuff on the West Coast too, we had people that we knew were out there that came to see the show, so we had a lot of support that way.
She's just the girl who
April lived in Berkeley, and we had a couple gigs in San Francisco, so she put us up when we were in San Francisco at her apartment in Berkeley. April is the nicest woman in the world, you know, she was like a mother to us by the time we got out to the West Coast. And then she came with us all the way up to Seattle, and on the way up to Seattle, we stopped at her grandparents' farm
In Oregon.
Right
on the river.
I remember my allergies were freaking me out
nature.
because there was just so much foreign pollen.
We started off the tour playing with nobody else and just playing by ourselves, and that was kind of hard. Yeah, we haven't. It's the first time we've actually played. The only other time we ever went out of Michigan, we went to Chicago once. We played up in Wisconsin and down in Carbondale, Illinois. But yeah, this is the first time out to the coast. I mean, myself personally, I enjoy playing music much more, but I mean, I think everybody in the band probably has a different opinion about that. I think what I enjoy more is the similarities and the fact that you can apply the same rules and philosophies behind improv comedy to what we do on stage. You know, when we're improvising, you're always trying to agree with your partners on stage. You're never trying to deny anybody. You know, you're always trying to, you're out there together, and that's what we try to do.
Woke up this morning to an awful smell.
Josh and I developed a working relationship in Second City that was based on the ideals of improvisation, the ideals of you say yes and, you don't deny, you don't ask questions, you just do.
Well, I ain't got no friends, 'cause the pile.
And when we took that into Park, it's now taking it into a rock band setting rather than a theatrical setting, and we started to discover our audiences in the beginning were mostly actors and improvisers, and so they understood where we were coming from. They understood the humor of it, the immediacy of it, the improvisational nature of it.
To be honest, I wasn't really a fan. I didn't get it. I was just like, "What? This is odd. What is this? This isn't jazz."
I got bad news. I heard grunge was dead.
The first thing I noticed about Chad was his ability to play off of Josh and react off of Josh at light speed.
I've been thinking for a while that grunge died a long time ago. Hello, Seattle!
Not being afraid to do it and just react instantly was another thing that I learned from those guys. Don't overthink stuff. Just kind of go.
Well, I'm doing laundry.
Josh and I left Second City in Detroit, we still had that bug. It was still it was like, okay, we're gonna go be a rock band now, but it was just in our nature to be funny.
Okay, nobody kicked my ass after the show, okay?
We were just kind of like had that mentality. We were in funny mode, and so it just kind of spilled over into Park.
The Johnny Anatoni song is about my friend Johnny Anatoni. And when we were in Seattle performing that song, he was actually in the audience. But yeah, that's all. It's a stupid song, just about my friend.
You look at and Chianti, it's Italian table wine. I want you next song, baby, because I think this wine has reached its prime. So if I be your bride, I provide up in the sky. But I don't. I'm just feeling. How you doing? You looking fine. I'm the race. You the roadie. Let's
These are the shrimp that I've been looking for my whole life. Here they are.
What's your first thought? Don't censor yourself.
Jennifer Lopez.
Cafe distraction shading all my reactions to the things that I wanted to say to you. How so Ruben, I think this cup is Cuban. Know that we've been waiting for our check for so long now. In this cafe distraction, the newspaper section says my horoscope is looking gone. My breath is bad, I need some gum. Some gum. Do you like romantics? I'm talking semantics, but that's not what I came here to say to you. All day, today, I just wanted to say that I take you.
It's just funny that the best part of that whole tour wasn't even a show. It was the night that we all camped on that beach and we filmed the stuff for Garage and April took care of us, and it was just, it was a really, a very powerful, memorable experience. That was the reason we went on tour. It was like that when we said from the beginning, let's get back out west. Let's get back out here, no matter what it takes. We're gonna go live in poverty. We're gonna ride in the van. We're gonna hate each other. We're gonna fight. We're gonna, play for nobody. We're gonna play shitty gigs for nobody. But when we were there, that was like, all right, we did it.
And I think in the movie that shot looks awesome.
That's a party in a jar right there. Don't take them all at once though, that's way too much for you, man. Take like half. You know what I mean? Like half.
You could only hope to be half as good a man as your father. Got that?
Like half. Like half. You know what I mean? Like half. I wouldn't eat those when you're alone. You might freak out. 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 Freak out.
Rock and roll. It's a lifestyle. Rock and roll. You could only hope to be rock and roll. Father. Rock and roll. Got that?
Freak out.
Rock and roll. It's a lifestyle.
Freak out.
Rock and roll. Got that?
We barely made it. We got the shot and the sun went down like a second later.
met Josh, I felt an immediate kinship with him when I did meet him, because he was the youngest person in the cast, and immediately, I mean, it was like, you know, I know this is gonna be my buddy. You know, I know this is the guy. I moved to Detroit not knowing anybody, and I saw Josh, and I was just like, okay, this is the guy. The idea, let's form a band, never actually happened. The way the band started was Josh and I went to go see Ween at St. Andrew's Hall. We went back to Seventh Heaven and went into Josh's room, and Josh had a little 4-track and a guitar, and I had my keyboard with a drum machine on it. And we decided that night we were going to write songs about all the roommates in Seventh Heaven.
I wasn't around. I don't know. I have no idea. So I don't know. As far as I know, it was Josh and Chad in their bedroom with a 4-track.
When we saw Ween, and we were like, oh my God, those guys started, it was 2 guys and a 4-track. Why can't we do the same thing? So we just started doing the 2 guys and a 4-track thing, and you know, and then Bill was living in the building.
Bill McLeod on stage. Look at.
I knew the bass player. I knew Bill. I went to school with Bill when Wayne stayed with Bill, and he told me about all these Second City people hanging out in Park Avenue. And he'd always go over there and hang out with them. And then as time went by, he told me that he was writing music with a couple of them, you know. And then that band turned into Park.
And we were playing with like Mo Hollis from the Howling Diablos was sitting in with us. A couple other guys were sitting in with us. It was this constant rotation of drummers and bass players for a while. And I asked Chuck off a whim, and he came and he played with us one night.
So I got together with them, and I learned a bunch of stuff in like 2 days. They were just throwing tune after tune at me, and I'm like trying to write it all down. And then I did a gig with them, and then slowly but surely, I just kind of joined permanently.
He called up. He's like, I don't want to be all like dun 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 dun. He's like, but I'll be in your band, you know. and I turned to Josh, and I'm like a little girl. I'm like, he'll be in the band. He said he'll be in the band, you know. And me and Josh were like, yay!
I hadn't talked to Josh in about 2 years, and he called me out of the blue and says, yeah, I have this band in Detroit. He's like, do you want to come up and play? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I was going to school at the time, so I just kind of packed up all my stuff. I was like 2 weeks into my 3rd semester, dropped all my classes, packed up all my stuff in my buddy's basement, and got a suitcase full of clothes, my drums, and we packed everything into Josh's Honda Civic and drove to Detroit like 13 hours or whatever the hell it was.
We all came together, and we all had, you know, like Josh was the glue, and Chad was too, you know, but we all had similar visions and similar goals, and we all enjoyed the style of music that we played. We liked to jam, and we liked to improvise and create, so that really helped it. You know, I was probably the biggest pain in the ass.
Well, we had so many songs. I think there was like over 100 songs. We had a grid of every song that we knew, and then we had every time we'd play the song, we'd put a check next to the song that we play. And there were some songs that we played, you know, like at every show, and there were some songs that we never ended up playing. And some of them were like you'd write in the personality of a fictional character. Some were actually personal. Some, you know, Chad wrote, some Doug wrote, some, I don't know if Chuck ever wrote any lyrics. I don't know. No, he didn't write lyrics. No. Oh, yeah, he did. Charlie was a big song that I also wrote when I was in Europe. That is about a girl that I met in Prague, and her name was Charlie, and she was a street violin player. She was like, could party harder than anyone I've ever met in my life.
On a train to Innsbruck, I thought to take a look into a lady who commented very well. Her band I met, she was a sister, kind of put the shit she couldn't quit. So confusing and using my mind, goddamn, she was a section, relaxing with Joey and Jackson. We're in Polynesian, to take a Prague born next to the Acropolis. To play some ball, from the pavement to the basement of the bar next door. I was dancing and prancing, we needed more mates to drinking meters of the kisses, smoking cigarettes, and Peter 6 shots of action. My mind was all around like petrol and Mexico, mushrooms from Mexico, Chinese or Leco. We're going loco, we just send the rock and roll over to the techno sound. Round and around she goes, where's your something nobody knows. They go shot for shot. With some drinking, with some shot, and they left. I couldn't believe that Peter was juking my way. I went into the bathroom. Then he was puking. Things getting crazy. My mind getting hazy. This is a party, but I'm without Charlie.
Chuck was like easily the oldest out of all of us, and should, in my opinion, Chuck should be making $1 million a year with his bass playing abilities.
Chuck was God. Chuck is God. I mean, Chuck, I'll say this right about Chuck right now. I mean, I don't know if I could ever play with a better bass player.
For some unknown reason, he was with us, and he was, just a godsend, and the best person in the world, the best bass player in the world.
Wish I could have thought to be the know I was a pain. I had to cut the next string to Vienna. It's still a ball and I wasn't a fellow. See my brain is a field in the river Dolph. So I spin into the loop with some sort of intake. Cause you know I got to do what I got to do. I got the sack on my back, got a head full of track. At 9 in the morning, I'm feeling quite right. So I opened the door, and what do I see? There she is still drinking. Goddamn, it was Johnny. Still on the drink. She had us on the wind, and I think she breathed. Cause I looked like the busy lake. And I saw she said, I know a good place. You need some better people for you jump back in the river. So I'm back on the track, and my mind is just like on the groove of Charlie. Charlie, I'm Charlie.
I think we only have time for one more.
Do you think the tour itself was worth it?
Absolutely. Financially, no, but life experience, absolutely.
Pretty sure Chad was the only one that got the ticks though.
Every moment was filled like tenfold of what your normal life would be like.
I would say my favorite city was Fresno, because I felt like I really got to know Doug really well.
Fresno was my favorite city as well.
It was an incredible experience. It was an incredible. It was incredible to have that much, effect on not only yourself but on other people, and on the people that heard you, and on the people that supported us, and the people that encouraged us. And so, I mean, that's just huge. That's what music comes down to. It's this relationship between you and the people that listen to it, and that oh man, I so understand where you're coming from. You too, I understand where you're coming from. And that shared experience, that influences that hopefully people will take outside of their lives if you take something from that. It sounds pretentious, but it's really true.
It's time for us to get serious. We have traveled all over the country, and our tour has come to an end tonight. And so this song is my attempt to steal you from your man, and I think you know who you are. Every little night, when my lady gets off work, she's got me feeling alright. Don't be afraid to grab someone. And my love begins to lurk. Baby lives down the block, off of Brown Park and Demons. So slapping no poppycock, spout no blasphemers. Girl,
are my lady, lady. And I celebrate our love together. Lady smells so sweet, so sweet. 'Cause she's working all the time at the flower shop in the ghetto. Selling flowers from the meadow. Showering from my libretto. I sip some more amaretto. Thank you, Chuck. You know, even though I just met you tonight, Rachel, I feel very strong for you. I've heard a lot of stories about you. John, my friend. We did some time together in Boy Scouts. And we talked when we were in our tent late at night. And all I know is, damn girl, I'm in town for one night. But I could make it a lifetime. It's up to you. That's right. Hello, ladies. I'll be with you next. You know, yes, I have many lovers, 2 of them over there. But I don't want you to feel upset or afraid about that at all, because I just want you to know that since 2 of my girlfriends are sitting over there, it don't mean anything, because you are my lady. Yeah, and you smell so sweet, 'cause you're working all the time at the flower shop in the ghetto. We can take it, Margette. Oh, like Pinocchio and Geppetto. Master and his puppet. I'm gonna ride this at falsetto. Ooh, lady, yeah. Oh, 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 lady, yeah. You are my lady. Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, 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 lady, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, lady, lady, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, lady, lady child, girl, woman child, girl, woman child, girl, woman child, girl, woman child, girl. Thank you, good night, everybody. We are Park. See you in a couple months.
None of us had real jobs, so we were making a living off of Park, which meant that we were all dirt poor, and we were all, Doug and Chad and I were living together for a long time, and you know, when you're dirt poor and you're working all the time and you're living together and things like that, it was so hard to not just drive each other crazy, and so that ended up probably the downfall of Park, I think.
In the year of 1999, we did 2 tours, 2 summer tours,
Right.
and filmed the movie, and never rehearsed once. Honest to God's truth.
Yeah.
We never, ever, ever had a rehearsal for an entire year. We stopped writing.
I was broke. You know, I was just bouncing back and forth, getting evicted from places, trying to make ends meet. You can't really get a job
Right.
You can't work with another band because it's so up and down and it's so hard. It's not consistent and there's no regular set schedule.
I mean, it was pure exhaustion. By December of 1999, it was pure exhaustion.
Yeah.
It was out of control exhaustion.
It's a pain in the ass to try to make it in a rock band. It's a pain in the ass. You got to really want to sacrifice, and we tried, man. I mean, we went on 3 tours, you know, and the last tour we went on was with NECA, and that was supposed to be like the promised land. That's where you get the guarantees, you get the hotel rooms, you know, you get good money. I forget what it was, like $1,000 a gig or something, you know, and we still were broke as hell because it cost so much.
I think we were working so hard, so much when we were together, that there was no other solution but for us to implode. Well, the status of the band at this point, I'm married now to Naima, and I'm directing at Second City in Chicago, and I have a band with Naima called Grits. So we all still have bands, but they're not part. Chad is the musical director for Second City Cleveland.
Yeah.
Chuck is in Herm Sanford, and probably he plays with Thornetta Davis in Detroit. Doug is in Quasar What here in Chicago.
It's just different because this stuff is like, it's always on the verge of like falling apart, whereas the Park stuff was like, you could rely on other people to like hold stuff together, so you didn't have to worry about it ever falling apart.
Doug also is raising a child.
Takes a minute.
And we haven't really been in the same room at the same time for 3 years, probably.
We are now entering the world of unrehearsed songs. When I was 21, looking for action, satisfaction, and fun. I checked out the burbs, it didn't do it for me, so I moved downtown where the cool shit be. I found myself a place to drink, a place to lay my head, and a place where I could think. Then I found 7 men that I love until the end. The Detroit apartment in the sky is why it's called 7 Heaven. What you see when you enter our place. People party fast, there's a fun, was a race. Big hands on the floor, don't you want some more? We got a beer machine, we don't need a liquor store. No one does the dishes, but everybody wishes we would. We're up to no good. 7th Heaven and the Park neighborhood. And if you're downtown, come on around. You know why we get high, and we always get down. 7th Heaven. 7th Heaven. In 704 is my boy David Hurt, and his intelligence is higher, and he's a plane flyer. He plays with his computer, and I think his bar is beautiful, but I've never seen it because Herbst never cleans it. In 705 is my boy Michael Kelly, smoking menthol cigarettes and always making poker bets with no regrets and playing with teams. Sheila and Michael fly together in their dreams. In 706, it's me, J Funk. The Funk Man is who I be. I'm kicking it in my room with my AC. Got bit stored like the Baptiste of Casey. In 707 is my boy Chad. He rocks the house, y'all even know he's bad. Now come on, you know you can't mess with a Kruger, a musical assassin. The piano is his Luger. In 708, it's 709. It's not fair. This party all the time. This party all the time. It's 711.
We were playing downtown Detroit and drawing huge crowds on Monday night in the town hall.
We ended up packing those bars. And I mean, when I say packed, I'm talking you can't even walk. We lived upstairs on the 7th floor in 7th Heaven from the bar in the lobby.
The guys that originally lived there turned it into a space, a communal space for 7 people to all share.
So at set breaks, everyone from the to our apartment, hour later, came back down, did the second set. After the second set, everyone came back up to the apartment.
It was ridiculous. Even the nights that we didn't play, there were parties, and they would go on until 7 or 8 in the morning.
But they weren't necessarily coming to see our band. It was more of like just a scene, you know, like just friends hanging out that just grew and grew and grew and grew. And it was just a big family.
Chad Kruger on keyboard. Dougie Walsh on drums. Chuck Bartalos on bass. Joshua Vaughn on guitar. In 710 is my boy Ruel. He's always kind, he's never ever cruel. He's always making the ladies truel. And he winds them up on his Ruel spool. In 711 is my boy Chamberlain. And he's always in his room and he's always playing tune. He had a Ford Bronco but it never seemed to honk. So when he goes far, he has to borrow my car. In 712, in 712 is Tom Persing, and he shaking that ass, make it go ding-a-ling-a-ling. I don't know what goes here, because he owns the beer machine. He likes the beer machine. Beer machine is lots of fun. Beer machine is fun. He's got the beer machine. Beer machine is lots of fun. Oh yeah.